Welcome to the CU Scoop. I'm your host, Philip Dukes, aka Dukes the Scoop. Check me out on Twitter and Instagram at Dukes the Scoop. And please be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Today's episode is being brought to you by Crayola. See that cool t-shirt they got me, the premium choice. All right, wanted to make sure I give my guys a shout out. And if you would like your product featured, hit me on social media. And we're about to start doing ad reads. So if you would like to be one of the first to support the show by advertising, please hit me up by email, dukesthescoop@gmail.com, or in my DM on Twitter or Instagram. All right, today's show is about the first high school commitment secured by the Colorado Buffaloes, and that is Gavin Mueller of Wheaton, Illinois. All right, there are a few things that I love about this pickup that we'll get to, but I think most importantly is that you win a battle against a team like LSU. You beat some really good teams to get this guy. A ton of potential, but I did want to start there when you're in this era of NIL, and I think I saw somebody comment on this saying that this is a good old-fashioned recruiting victory. Not the splashiest of signings when you think about, oh, is he a 5-star or is he this, is he that? But this is one of those foundational pieces. Somebody who believes in what Colorado is building, and undeniably, there are other people that wanted this outstanding player who has a ton of potential, the upside. Basketball player. He's only been playing football for like a year. I think that speaks volumes into how highly he's been ranked already with only a year of experience. Grew a lot over the past couple of years, and at the behest of one of his coaches was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and play some football," and I think it's going to work well for Colorado. Just thinking about, but I want to focus on one of the things where you got people who naysay Colorado's recruiting, and they say, well, this guy, was he really going to go to LSU, or was his offer committable? One thing about it, he came off of OV, and one thing about those visits to LSU, or when you take those visits this late in the year, nobody's taking visits this late in the year just to be like, oh yeah, it's a nice thing to do. So him taking that visit and then making his decision based on Colorado says a lot about what Colorado is doing. And no disrespect to LSU at all, but I just think that lets you know that the needle is pointing upward when it comes to recruiting these type of battles. And you got to win these. These are foundational type players. The guys who come in, they believe in what you're doing in the training room. They believe in what you're doing in the meeting rooms. They believe in what you're doing and everywhere. And and it's not the NIL room. And even if it is the NIL room, but that's a part of the game. And let me retract that. I just think that someone who believes in Colorado and what they're doing on the field in a tight end room that has been flipped around over the past couple of years, this is a guy who's bought in. When you see his excitement about joining Colorado, when you see how he talks about Coach Prime, when you see how he talked about his visit, this is somebody who wants to be in Colorado, and that's who you want to build your program around, especially when you go to the high school ranks. When you look at somebody who has his type of potential and his size, we can go into some of the 24/7 did a great job. I believe they had commitment. They were all over this one. Shout out to my man Allen, man. Shout out to Hudson Standish. She's a national analyst, really upcoming young guy. But this is what Hudson Standish had to say. Estimated to hover around 6'5", 255 pounds with an 82-inch wingspan and above the rim athleticism that translate from the court to the field. All right, let's stop there. The above the rim athleticism. So when we talk about the red zone, when you talk about being able to score in tight spaces, when you get into the red zone, when you get into goal line situations, if you can't go far, you got to go up. So having somebody who can quote unquote hoop. I know now recently when people talk about hooping in football and is just trying to help help for some of those help translate a little bit. But when you talk about hooping in football, usually it was about people who were going up, getting the ball higher than anybody else, or they'll say you get dunked on if you catch the ball over someone else or Moss. Now people say you hooping if you're just playing football at a really high level. But this guy's a hooper. He's going to get the ball over your head, and he's actually a basketball player. So being able to translate that wingspan and that upward mobility as far as him getting up when he goes to catch the ball, I think that's really important. When you talk about being able to add some RPO and being able to go upward in a goal line setting, so I'm gonna look forward to that a ton. Works. I'm gonna go back to what Hudson said. He said played his first season of high school football as a junior, working as a wide receiver / tight end and defensive end. Profiled as an inline Y tight end at the next level who can use his physicality at the line of scrimmage to create running lanes and his frame to box out defenders at the first two levels. Has shown the ability to make plays at the catch point and excels at tracking the football in crowded conditions. Played through a shoulder injury and underwent surgery following his first season of football. Should be viewed as a high upside attached tight end who could blossom into a key piece for a college football player contender. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a glowing endorsement. Also, when you talk about being able to make contested catches, I think playing in traffic, playing in the paint from basketball really helps him translate in this game. When you go watch this film, go check out his other YouTube 24/7. Once again, did a great job. They have some film on him. Go watch what he does in contested situations. Every guy he's not playing against is not some small DB. I mean, you got some linebackers that he's going up against. He has some nastiness, has a mean streak, a willing blocker. So when they say an attached tight end, that's somebody who's going to play right there on the line of scrimmage. But I think, I love the spread tight ends and how you get guys off the line of scrimmage and what you can do with those matchup issues. But I love a traditional tight end who could put his hand in the dirt and you don't know what he's doing. Being able to have a guy who can block just as well as he catches, you don't know what he's doing. So you can't key on him. You got some tight ends that come into games like blocking tight ends, you know what they're doing for the most part. So I think, once again, him having that versatility, being able to be a traditional tight end at his size, and I'm not sure if the kid is through growing. It looks like his frame has a lot. He could actually this guy looks like he can wear 270 pounds easily and still be a fluid athlete. So I think just his size alone makes it a good get. Another reason that when you think about the Midwest, we know that Colorado has done a really good job in Florida and Georgia and Texas, but being able to open up that Midwest, I think, is going to be really important this recruiting class. You got some guys that ball up there, and having that proximity, being able to go not as far, not having to go all the way to the Southeast, I think that's really important. So being able to open up that line of communication or that pipeline, so to speak, in the Midwest, going to Illinois, you're going to be able to get into Chicago and the Detroits of the world. But I think that's really important, getting a guy from that part of the world who wants to be a part of what you're building. And so one of my former coworkers, Alan True at 24/7, has some great quotes. Make sure you go check out this article. But this is one of the quotes that I really like on why Gavin Mueller chose Colorado. He said, Colorado has made me feel at home. Every player, staff member, and even fan has made me feel welcome, and I knew it was home. He visited Colorado twice, once officially and once unofficially, got to know the staff and also Coach Prime. His quote on Coach Prime was, he was very personable and one of the easiest dudes I've ever talked to. There's also a chance to play early and be developed by the amount of the staff. Oh, excuse me, I read that wrong. This isn't Gavin talking. He said, but this is Alan saying there is also a chance to play early and be developed, and the amount that the staff prioritized him hammered those things on. All right, so what I liked about those quotes Colorado has made me feel at home. Every player, staff member, and even fan has made me feel welcome, and I knew it was home. When you talk about the Colorado fans mobilizing on social media, you've seen the effects that it's had on Cleveland. You've seen the effects that it's had on Cleveland with Shedeur Sanders, Jacksonville with Travis Hunter, Baltimore with LaJohntay Wester, even the Panthers with Jimmy Horn, Tampa Bay with Shiloh. Like, you just see how this fan base really, really takes to these players, and I think the players feel it, and now the recruits are starting to feel it. Are starting to feel it as well. So I think that's really important. I thought that he mentioned the fans when it came down to his recruitment, and I would encourage Colorado Buffaloes fans to continue to do the same. Not the stuff that people do when they're not happy with a Colorado player, but as far as showing them love, I think you got to continue to do that. And it's easy to see when you commit to a Colorado, the type of media response you get. I mean, it's crazy. Here's another part of this. This is just talking about the other schools. Who else was in the mix? There was a time when LSU seemed like the leader here, and Mueller took an official visit with the Tigers over that weekend. Notre Dame and Wisconsin were his top four. When you look at LSU and Notre Dame being two out of your top four, it just lets you know what type of player that you're getting. Wisconsin is another program that's looking to build. So I think this is a huge win. And you want to, and I think it just starts the tip of the iceberg as far as what you're going to do in high school recruiting. You're going to start to see more and more guys. I think the recruiting staff is really focused on the transfer portal and making sure that you're able to field the winner this year, filling some holes. But as they continue to round out their transfer portal and any grad transfer guys they may potentially have, you're going to see Colorado continue to pick it up as it comes to high school recruiting. As you know, Colorado usually starts out a little slower than some schools and finishes strong. And that's by design because they want to commit. Now they will take commitments early. So I thought this was really good. But they got to really feel great about you to take your commitment early because they don't want to play around and they don't want to be played with. So I think that the way they attack high school recruiting has been good. Right now, getting a recruit this early, I love it. I do. And I think you'll start to see more and more people getting into the boat. But like starting early is cool, but they like to finish strong. So they're going to continue to recruit Gavin as if he's not committed. And I think that's what's going to set them apart and to make sure that this exciting tight end stays in the class. I got one more thing I wanted to cover. And shout out to Alan, my man. All right, so this is the last quote. He said, Mueller is interesting in that he did not play high school football until last season. He does not have the experience of other tight end prospects, but brings a 6'6", 250-pound frame, basketball athleticism, and a willingness to be physical to the table. And I think that's what we've been saying the whole time, is that his willingness to be physical with that basketball acumen, I think it makes for a great tight end prospect. We know some of the greatest tight ends that we've seen, Antonio Gates, Tony Gonzalez, also basketball players who caught the ball really well but were willing to block. So when you find a guy who's a hooper, Jimmy Graham, just another one, but when you find a guy who's a real hooper and has the physicality and the athleticism to translate to the football field, I think it's a win-win for all parties involved. All right, guys, that's my time. As you can see, I am still remote in Miami, but I want to make sure that I got something out. I hadn't seen you guys this week, man, so I want to make sure I got you guys some content. As I said, if you want to advertise, if you want to send something for your stuff to be advertised like Crayola did, just hit me in my email, DukesTheScoop@gmail.com, or hit my Twitter, Instagram. I'm tripping. All right, guys, I'm about to get to some more work, and I will see you guys soon for sure.